Hello everyone. So, with the reveal of Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, a lot of people have been thinking that this game might actually be kinda good. Granted, it doesn't look like it's going to win any awards or anything, but from what we saw, it looks pretty decent. We've had a few Super Smash Bros. Ripoffs through the years, but this one looks like it could be okay. We had some reveals that pretty much everyone knew would be in there, like SpongeBob, Reptar, and Helga. But then we also got ones that no one, I think, would have predicted, like Powdered Toast Man. So, because of that, I went ahead and put my own little roster possibilities list together. These are characters who I think might or might not make it. So, it could be 100% wrong, it could be right, it's just a random list of a bunch of characters. So I couldn't go and put obviously every character together, so it's pretty much just the bare bones, just pretty much a lot of the more well-known characters. You're not going to see anyone like Harold from Hey on here, or the Greasers from Cat Dog, so it's not going to be every character, just the more popular ones. So, let's go ahead and get this list started. So, let's see. First, let's look at Roger. Roger from Doug. So, the first thing that we need to discuss is that Doug is no longer owned by Nickelodeon. So, that kind of goes and makes it kind of an unlikely character. But it's just that Disney hasn't really done anything with Doug in about 20 years. I was really surprised when they actually went and put his show on Disney Plus, but other than that, they haven't done anything with the show in so friggin' long, and it's just sitting there. So it could be maybe like Banjo-Kazooie, where they go and give Nickelodeon the permission to go and put him on there, but then they could also do something like selling Doug back to Nickelodeon. And at the same time, maybe we would get a reveal that Doug's coming with a new series. Very, very, very unlikely, like this character, but who knows? It could happen, but I think I'm going to go with very unlikely. Like I said, Disney is just, they're protective of their IPs, and I just don't see him appearing, even if they went and gave Nickelodeon permission. I just don't see it happening, but he could still have a good, be a good character, just go around and punching people like a typical bully character, but, you know, who knows. Then we have Bob the Builder. I actually wasn't really sure if Bob the Builder is owned by Nickelodeon or not. I remember him being on Nick Jr., but I'm not sure if the character actually was owned by Nick. I don't think he was, because I'm pretty sure I remember the show airing on other networks as well. It was just more associated with Nick Jr. But let's see. I'm thinking between unlikely and maybe. I think it's more unlikely, but I kind of want to put him in maybe because it would just be funny to go and see Bob the Builder beat the crap out of a bunch of these people with his screwdriver and his hammer and a bunch of other objects. You know what? I'm going with maybe. It probably has to be unlikely, I know, but I want to put it in maybe, okay? Just, it'll be funny. Very, very, very funny. Then we have Alex Mack. A lot of people probably don't even remember this character. It was from that show, The Secret Life of Alex Mack, where this one girl gets superpowers after she gets radioactive stuff on her. So, and she can turn to Capri Sun. You remember those Capri Sun commercials where they turned into the liquid? Yeah, she becomes that. But because people don't remember the show so much, I'm gonna go with unlikely. Even though I think she could be a pretty good character with her little unique powers, I would kind of like to see her in there. Honestly, it would be a lot of fun. But yeah, I just don't don't see her appearing. Then we have Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy. So, we already have 3 SpongeBob characters confirmed for the roster, and I'm not sure how many more to put on. Because I really don't want them to become like the Fire Emblem characters, where they're just so friggin' many. Even Sakurai agrees that there's too many Fire Emblem characters in Smash Bros. And I just feel like if they put a bunch of SpongeBob characters in, it would pretty much just be Fire Emblem all over again. But I also can see Mermaid and Barnacle Boy being a good team together. But I think they will also be more likely an assistant trophy. So I'm going with maybe or unlikely. I'm gonna go with maybe. I think. Yeah, let's go with maybe. I think that's good. I mean, it could be unlikely, but I'm gonna go with maybe. Then we have Blue from Blue's Clues. This character would be like Bob the Builder. She would be very, very funny just to go and see in there. Just imagine Blue going and biting on SpongeBob. I'm gonna go with unlikely. Very, very unlikely, because it's just from your typical very kid show, and I don't think they won't want to be associated with something like that, even though I would really like it. Or to have Steve there. Not Joe or that other new guy. No. Steve. He's the only one. So screw the other 2 guys. Steve is the good owner. Then we have Star Trek characters. So Nickelodeon is actually going to making a Star Trek TV series out of all things, a cartoon. But a lot of people probably would be kind of weird to have that show, because I'm not really sure how many kids are into Star Trek of all things, but I'm not really that into it, but I'm going to go with likely on this one. I think it could happen. It could be, they are developing a series, and I could see at least one of the characters being a secret character. If anything, it would probably be either Kirk or Spork, or Spock, whatever his name is. See, I don't know his name. I barely know the series, but those would be the most likely 2. I really can't see anyone else getting in there except for them. After that, we have Danielle Phantom. Danielle Phantom would, I think, kind of be like an Ecto Fighter, where kind of like Daisy from Smash Bros. Is. She would have a lot of the same moves, just with some minor differences. But I think a lot of people who watch the show like her, and she'd be easy to make. She'd just have pretty much the same moves as Danny, except for a few minor ones, and it would be a girl character, since for Smash Bros, a lot of people always wanted more and more female characters in there, and it seems like they are starting to respond to that these days. And putting this character on here would just be an easy response. So, with Danny, I'm going to go with very likely. Very likely. Like I said, she'd be an easy character to make. A lot of people like her. With the small differences that they could make to her, they could be pretty unique. So, and I think I would like to play her. She'd be a lot of fun. So just a good change from watching Wild from the usual Danny Phantom. So I would really like to have her in there. Then we have Rango. Yeah, remember that movie that Nickelodeon released about 10 years ago with that lizard who was stuck in the desert? I barely do. I saw it about one time. It was okay. I mean, I think the thing I liked about it most was the animation. I thought that was pretty nice, but other than that, I barely remember the movie. But, as for making him a character, I'm thinking about either likely or maybe, because he could be a lot of fun. He could do the lizard thing. He can throw that goldfish he's holding. Whatever else he did in the movie that I barely remember. But he hasn't appeared in so long. But he could be a fun character, and it's a good callback. I'm gonna go with maybe on this one, I think. Yeah, maybe, because I mean, maybe if he was more recent, I would put him in likely, but just the show or the movie was about 10 years ago at this point, so yeah, I'm going with maybe. Tommy Pickles. Yeah, can you just think what it'd be like to go and beat the crap out of a baby? That would be pretty interesting. Granted, his parents were never really the best. They always lost him every single day, but let's see, could he actually appear in here? I mean, I kind of think that the reason that they put Reptar in was because they didn't want a bunch of babies going and getting the crud beaten out of them, but you know, there's still, for a while, they were pretty much the face of Nickelodeon. So, it's either maybe or likely. I mean, I'm not really sure what his moves could be, other than his screwdriver. I'm gonna go with likely. yeah, I know it's weird, but probably not. But I'm going with likely. Yeah. Then we have Mina and the Count. So, if no one really remembers this, like with Bob the Builder, it was never really owned by Nickelodeon, but there were some shorts that appeared on Oh Yeah Cartoons. But it also appeared on Cartoon Network on What a Cartoon, so yeah, that's what kind of brings it to the down points. But the thing is that this show actually did have quite a lot of fans. Surprisingly, it never got picked up for an actual show. I think that was mostly because the creator didn't want it to be made into an actual show, even though it was quite popular. But I'm gonna go with very unlikely, even though I think they would be a lot of fun to have in there, just to go have this weird tag team up with a little girl and a vampire. But you know, they're not owned by Nickelodeon. They haven't appeared in anything in probably almost 20 years or more. And it's just the creator didn't want them to be made into a series, and he probably also wouldn't want them to be in this as well, so I'm gonna go with very unlikely. Then we have XJ9, Jenny from My Life as a Teenage Robot. So I think she could be a fun character with all her gadgets and gizmos and doing whatever else. I would really like her to be in there, but then she hasn't appeared in a while, and she's really not the most popular character. She is popular, but there are probably a lot more popular characters that could be in a slot rather than XJ9. So I think I'm gonna go with maybe on this one. I do want to put her in likely, but yeah, let's go with maybe. I think that's the most likely spot. If there were just to be another girl character in here, I don't see it being her, sadly, even though I would like her to be in there. Squidward. I mean, I want to put him in very likely because it would be just get it all complete. SpongeBob, Patrick, Sandy, and then Squidward. But then it's just I don't think Nickelodeon likes him as much. They gave Patrick his own show, but they didn't give Squidward his own show, even though he deserves it more than Patrick does. I'm gonna go with What? I'm going with very likely. Yeah. Because, you know what? He deserves to be in there. Squidward deserves to be happy. He's always getting tortured in the show a bunch. He needs his happy moments like he had in the band episode. Just put him in there. God, we need him. He's like the Waluigi for this. He needs to be in there. I mean, God, put him in there. Plankton. Yeah. We do need some more villain characters in there. From what I remember in the trailer, I don't think there were any villain characters, but with Plankton, I mean, he's kind of going to be actually the opposite of Ridley from Smash Bros. You remember how people always used to say, Ridley's too big, Ridley's too big. Well, now it's going to be Plankton is too small. Hashtag Plankton is too small. I mean, they'll probably just size him up, but let's see. I'm going to go with likely on this one. I was thinking of going with maybe. Definitely not very likely, but maybe. But I do think they need more villain characters in there, and it would be fun to put him in there. And if he wins, if you win as him, he gets a Krabby Patty. That would be well deserving. Other Avatar characters. So, just like with SpongeBob, I kind of wonder what would happen if they put too many Avatar characters in here. But, unlike with SpongeBob, these characters could be very unique. You have Toph, who's an Earthbender. You have Suki, who's a Kyoshi warrior. Then you have just a bunch of other characters like Ozai or Iroh, and there's just so many characters that they could do, but at the same time, it would be like Fire Emblem again. I mean, I could see them adding a couple more characters, but just not too much. I'm gonna go with maybe on this one, I think. I mean, it's kind of a separate because I do have some more down here, but it's just all of them are going to be different. One's going to be likely, one's going to be maybe, one's going to be unlikely. So yeah, let's just put it in the middle. That makes more sense. Angelica, everyone's favorite brat. Let's see. I mean, honestly, I think I could see her being in there more than Tommy, maybe, because of how aggressive she is. But then, at the same time, I don't know, she might be like a carbon copy of Helga. I guess you could say that she would probably be an Echo Fighter of her. I'm gonna go with likely on her, I think. I could see her being there probably as much as Tommy will, but still, I think I'll put her in there. Then we have Ickis from All Real Monsters. Now, I was already surprised that they put Olivia in there because that show has been long forgotten, but Ickis, I think he's technically the main character. Even though they're all three main characters, he was pretty much the main character. But, let's see. I'm gonna go with, maybe on him, I think. I was thinking of unlikely, but, you know, if they put, Olivia in here, I think he could have a chance as well. And, his final smash could definitely be where he turns big and scares everyone. Liza Thornberry. I think the only reason that they put Nigel in there was for the memes, because everyone likes to go and meme him. And Eliza could actually be a more unique character because she can talk to animals. But still, she is still pretty much a normal girl from that. So because of that, I'm going to go with unlikely because it would just be kind of weird to always have a bunch of animals around her to be at her aid. So, yeah, I just don't see it happening. Then we have Chucky from Rugrats. So I think out of Angelica and Tommy, he's probably the least likely because he's a scaredy cat, and even though that doesn't get him off completely, just I can see him having the less unique set for when it comes for his battle. So I think I'm gonna go with thinking between maybe and unlikely. This one's actually kind of hard. I mean, what do you guys think? Even though I'm making this before I put it up on YouTube, so you can't respond to me right now, so asking that was rather irrelevant. I think I'm going to go with maybe on him. I'm probably being nice, but hey, Zuko. Oh, here's a good one. I'm going with very likely. Definitely. I would be surprised if they didn't put Zuko in here. Because they already have Aang, who's an avatar, and he's mostly air. Then they have Korra, an avatar. She's mostly water. And Zuko, even though he's not an avatar, he's mostly fire. And that does kind of leave Earthbenders off the side, but who knows? Toph might make it, even though she's not on my list, but she still might make it. But not having Zuko in there, that would just be that would be devastating. I'd be like, that's rough, buddy. I will be quite saddened if they don't put Zuko in there because I think I can see him becoming my main. He's one of my favorite characters from Avatar. He's not my main, my favorite character. That would be Sokka, but still, if he's in there, I think he would probably be my main to choose. Then we have Dib from Invader Zim. I'm thinking between maybe and likely. Maybe because, let's see, I'm not sure if they want to put too many, Invader Zim characters in here, but, at the same time, he's a main character from a popular TV series. Now, if that movie never got made, I would probably put him in unlikely, and then maybe, but, because the movie did get made, I think that does strengthen his chances. I'm gonna go with likely. That seems like the most basic. And there's quite a few Invader Zim characters they can also put in here, just like everything with Avatar and the other show, but they probably just don't want to fill it up too friggin' much. So with that, I also have Tak. As for Tak, I think she would also be like an ecto fighter for Zim. She's an alien, but she could probably also just be even though she'd be an ecto fighter, she'd probably be actually a superior version because she's smarter, stronger, and everything like that. So I'm probably going to go with sadly unlikely. I was thinking of putting her in maybe, but she appeared in maybe 2 episodes throughout the series, and I don't think she even appeared in the movie. So from what I remember, so hell, I think even Gaz is more likely to appear in her. I think even Professor Membrane is more likely to appear than her. So I'm sorry, Tak fans. I would like to be in there, but I'm going with unlikely. Then we have the Angry Beavers. So these two, they could be a fun little team together. I can kind of see them being like the Ice Climbers or Duck Hunt. But, let's see. They haven't appeared in years, and Nickelodeon did cancel their show because they made a reference. They were trying to make a reference to them being cartoons. So I think unlikely. I would like them to be in there, I think, but yeah, unlikely. I don't see them being in there. Mr. Crocker. So far, we haven't gotten any Fairly OddParents characters revealed yet, but I'm pretty sure we will get some, but we just haven't seen any yet. Let's see. I think I'm going to go with maybe for Mr. Crocker. Probably, yeah, I'm going to go with maybe. Out of some of the characters, I think he'd be more likely to appear than others, but out of some of the others I also have in mind right now, he's probably one of the more unlikely to appear, so I'm going very unlikely, even though it would be fun to see him in there, and then whenever he does his little victory dance, he's like, "Very good parents!" Oh, that would be nice to see again. Then Vicky. I think I take that back from what I just said before. I think out of all the characters, Vicky is the most unlikely to appear. Even though she's quite an evil character, maybe even more evil than Mr. Crocker, she's probably pretty unlikely because, unlike Crocker, who has all these weird gadgets to go and hunt fairies with, she pretty much just uses a chainsaw and a hammer and things like that. Pretty basic, but and she could still be probably fun to play around, but out of all the characters for Fairly OddParents I have right now, I think she's probably the most unlikely. Then we have Rudy from Chalk Zone. You know what? I think he would be a fun character to have, actually. With his chalk, that would be, he could do some really creative things with that. Some people might say have Snap in there instead, but I think he could be a fun character. But the problem is that he hasn't appeared in everything in a long time. You know what? I'm gonna go with likely. Even though he probably should be in maybe or even unlikely, I'm gonna go with likely just because he'd be a fun character to have. Ember. Let's see. She could be a great character to have with her guitar playing. And I know a lot of fans like her. She's probably one of the most popular characters from the show. So she would probably be either very likely or likely. I think I'm going to go with likely on this one. Because I actually have one more, not Dexter, one more Danny Phantom character, and I think he's more likely to appear than Ember is. So yeah, likely. Even though she would be a great character to have, I'm putting her right there. Carl. Let's see. Now, Carl would pretty much be there for the memes, and that's it. He wouldn't be there for any other reason. But to see him in there, oh, that would make me pretty happy. Just smiles all over my face, seeing this big tubby kid go all over the field and doing things, eating a croissant. So I'm gonna go with likely on him. Once again, it's just for the memes. I would really like to see him in there. Then we have Hugh Neutron. Once again, he's for the memes. And I was choosing between him and Timmy's dad, who's also a meme. And I had a hard time choosing between them. I probably could have put both of them in here, honestly, but let's see. Even though I want to put him in maybe, he's probably going to be either unlikely or very unlikely. Let's go with unlikely. I think that's the most likely case. I mean, he's not as unlikely as Mean an Account or Blue, but he's not as likely as someone like XJ9 or Mr. Crocker. Then we have Tak from Tak and the Power of Juju. So for anyone who doesn't know, this was from a Nickelodeon show and a game from about 15 years ago, or even more than that. So I barely remember it, and there's probably a lot of other people who barely remember it as well. And because of that, I think I'm going to put him in unlikely. Maybe even unlikely. Let's see. I mean, he could be a surprise character, you never know. And because I don't remember the show at all, I don't know what his moveset could be. It could be a lot of fun, it could be boring. Let's see. I think I'm going to go with probably very unlikely. Yeah, even though I was thinking of putting him in unlikely, I think it would be very unlikely to put him in there. Sporticus. Oh, Lazy Town, another meme show. So, I think it would be quite fun to have him in there, even though I don't know a thing about Lazy Town, aside from the few clips I've seen. But, man, would it be funny to have him in there. I'm gonna go with, likely on this one. A lot of people will probably be calling me stupid right now, or crazy, but hey, we had to have at least one Lazy Town character in this, or this game isn't complete. At least one. Then we have Jimmy Neutron. I say Jimmy is going to be very likely. For a while, he was big on Nickelodeon back in the early 2000s till his show got canceled, but I mean, a lot of people liked him. His movie made a lot of money, the show was a success, and he appeared in a bunch of other things, so I think very likely. Plus, he could have a great moveset, just with all his good gadgets and everything like that, so yeah, he's probably going to be very likely. I'd be surprised if he isn't revealed pretty soon. Then we have Robbie Rotten. Let's see. Where should we put you, Robbie? I think I'm going to be nice again and put him in maybe. Not as likely as Sporticus, I think. But, you know, he could still appear. I would like to see him in there. Then we have Quailman. So I was originally thinking of maybe doing Doug, but then just Doug is pretty much the most basic character in existence. He is so average that even some of the other characters on this list would be amazing compared to him. He would pretty much be the sandpaper on here. So Quailman would be probably more likely. But like with Roger, I just don't see him appearing because the show's owned by Disney, even though they haven't done anything with it in years. So I think I'm going to go with unlikely. He's more likely than Roger, but I still don't see him appearing because just unless Disney and Nickelodeon can come up with some sort of deal like with Banjo-Kazooie, or maybe if they sold Doug back to Nickelodeon. I mean, I want him to appear. I really want him to appear. It would just be amazing to have Quailman in there. Even if he was downloadable content, but oh man, I wish he would be in there, but I just don't think it's going to happen. DreamWorks characters. So back in about the late 2000s and early 2010s, Nickelodeon had a bunch of these DreamWorks shows, but they're pretty much gone right now, so I don't think the licensing is there anymore, so I'm going with unlikely. If the licensing was still there, I can probably see the the Penguins appearing, or Kung Fu Panda, or Shrek. Even though he didn't have his own show on there, but still, having some DreamWorks characters without Shrek is just... It'd be like having a Disney game without Mickey Mouse. That's what it'd be like. So, yeah, I'm going very unlikely. Most live-action characters. So I did do a few exceptions on here, like Robbie Rotten and Alex Max, but most of the characters I don't see being on here because they're just too realistic. Can you see Carly Shay being on here? Or can you see Drake and Josh being on here? It's just... I don't see that happening because they're like real people. Can you imagine Zoe being on here? Yeah. That's why I'm putting it in very unlikely. I'll do a few exceptions for the more wacky characters, but most of them won't be. If I had to choose one character from the sitcoms, I'd probably go with Crazy Steve, because he is quite cuckoo. But even then, I think he's pretty unlikely. Cat Scratch. You know, this was an underrated show. I remember back in the day, my younger brother and our friend used to watch it on demand, because they didn't show it on Nickelodeon that much. So we had to watch it on demand, and we liked it. We thought it was kind of funny. And it only lasted one season, I think, or maybe two, but even then, it was still really short. I think it only lasted about a year or two, and... I mean, the characters kind of remind me of Ed and Eddie, honestly, but if you like Ed and Eddie, you would probably like this show. It's sad that it just didn't last too long. And because of that, I'm going with very unlikely. Yeah. You could tell I'm disappointed, can't you? I wanted to put them more up, but yeah, it's not going to happen. Mr. Krabs. He would probably be either maybe or unlikely. I mean, I don't see him being as likely as Plankton or Squidward, but I can still see him being there possibly. I mean, he was in the Army, wasn't he? Or the Navy? Yeah. But they would probably have to pay him so he could be in here. I think I'm going to go with maybe for him. I was thinking going with unlikely, but, you know, Nickelodeon loves SpongeBob so much that I wouldn't be surprised if they do put him in there. Arnold. I think Arnold would probably be unlikely. Because, it makes sense to put Helga in there. She's a fighter. While Arnold is the voice of reason, he doesn't like to cause fights. I mean, even throughout the whole series, he didn't even get angry that much. It usually took a lot to get him angry. I do remember from one episode where Iggy got him angry. And you know if you're getting Arnold angry, you messed up. And it's probably that, yeah, you're the one that messed up. Not Arnold, you. You messed up somehow, and you gotta fix it. But because he's not a fighter, I'm going with unlikely. And with Gerald, if Arnold's unlikely, then Gerald's very unlikely. Just, if they didn't put Arnold in there, why would they put Gerald? If Arnold was more likely, then he'd be a little bit more up. But yeah, Gerald's not going to appear. And then we have Ginger. I'm going to go with unlikely with her because, like Arnold, she's not much of a fighter, and she's just a very basic average girl. Not like impossible, but really just a basic average girl. So I don't think she'll be appearing in there at all. The Crimson Chin. You know, the Crimson Chin, I think he could have a good chance of being in there. I think I'm going to go with likely for the Crimson Chin. Because I always liked him. He was always a really cool character, and if they're having Powdered Toast Man in there, then there's a good chance that the Crimson Chin will be in there. And it would just be kind of disappointing if he wasn't. At least he's not Crash Nebula. Crash Nebula isn't going to appear, but the Crimson Chin might have a chance. Then we have Shredder from TMNT. I think I'll put him in likely. I don't really know anything about this show, or even the original TMNT, or the 2003 TMNT, but if they're putting a couple of the other turtles in here, I think you still might have a chance, and like I said, there aren't enough villains, and we need more villains in here, so I'm going to go ahead and put him in there. Rocco. Let's see. I mean, he's not really a fighter, but, I mean, he was a big on Nickelodeon a long time ago. I think I'm going to go with likely. Definitely likely, because they did give him that special a few years ago, and he does have his whole show on DVD, and a lot of people like him, so I think he'll definitely appear, and very likely. The other Loud Kids. So, I don't really know that much about the Loud Show. I've only seen a couple episodes here and there. And the only characters that have been announced so far are Linking and the goth chick. See, I don't even know her name. I don't know any of the girls' names. I think one of them's name is Lyra. Then I think there's the other's name who's Luna. Then I think there's Elisa. She's the one with the glasses, isn't she? But I know this show's so little, but there's just so many of them, and I mean, they don't really seem like they would be characters that would be in here, except maybe the tomboy one in the football outfit, or the soccer outfit, whatever it is. It's probably going to be unlikely or very unlikely. I'm going to go with unlikely, I think. Maybe one of them will be DLC later on, but most of them aren't going to appear. Then we have Garfield. So Garfield is now owned by Nickelodeon. And even if you go to his website, it redirects you to Nickelodeon, which is stupid. You don't have to go to Go Comics to go and see the comics now. Ridiculous. So I think I'm going to go with likely on Garfield. I definitely see him appearing. It'd be kind of stupid to see him in there, honestly, because he appears on so many things. I do like Garfield, but what I like about Calvin and Hobbes is that Bill Watterson chose not to merchandise him so much. Unlike Garfield, where his face has to appear on everything, which kind of ruined the appeal of it. But still, yeah, I think he's very likely to appear. The Rocket Power characters. I mean, they could actually be good fighters, I think. Because they're athletic, so it would make sense. But they haven't appeared in anything in a long time. I'm thinking either maybe or unlikely. I guess I'll put them in maybe. It kind of depends on the character. I think Otto is more likely to appear than that geek character that was on the show, whose name I don't recall anymore. So, not all of them will probably appear, but I can see at least one of them appearing. Alright, then, how about, let's see, well, like with, Shredder, he's probably a pretty good character to appear, but, not too sure, actually, on this one. I mean, he is the leader, not the leader of the Turtles, but the one who masters them. I think I'm going to put actually an unlikely. Sorry, Splinter. It's just, I don't see you appearing in there. Then Fanboy and Chum Chum. Boy, I remember how people hated the show. And I was one of them. I hated the show. Hated the show. Hated everything about it. And just... But, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if they did put them in here. Because life is cruel that way. And I'm sure Fanboy and Chum Chum do have their fans. I can't help to think what's wrong with you if you're a fan of that show, but... You know, they could appear. It's either unlikely or maybe. I want to put them in very unlikely, but realistically, they might be in maybe. Let's see. Okay, should I be fair and put them in maybe, or should I be selfish, which I want to be, and put them in unlikely? I guess I'll put them in maybe. Why do I have to care so much? Okay, so then we have Henry and June from Kablam. Yeah, I think they're very unlikely to appear. Even though it could be fun to see them in there, they could probably become superhero actor egos, but I just don't see them being in there because it's just they haven't appeared in anything in a long time, and just I'm not really even sure if Nickelodeon remembers them anymore, but yeah, I don't see them appearing. Cab and Mikey. I'm going with very unlikely on this one too. Does anyone even remember that show? From what I remember, it was pretty much about this kid who wins some kind of contest and he goes to Japan to become a superhero. It was pretty much just this blend of Western animation and anime. I think it was made by a weeaboo. Yeah, I don't really remember too much about the show, but I don't see him appearing. The other turtles. They're probably going to be maybe as well. Because I don't want the whole list to be a bunch of turtles, and I'm not even how different all the turtles are going to be. I know they have different weapons and everything, but it's just... It'd be kind of annoying just to have 4 turtles take up the slots. And I know I'm saying that because I'm not a TMNT fan, so yeah, I'm being selfish right here, but it would just be kind of stupid to me. Really, really big man. I think I'm going to go with maybe on him. He's not as likely as the Crimson Chin to appear, but once again, if Powder Toast Man appeared, he could appear as well. And just... Wouldn't it be great if his final smash was the little nipple thing? He goes and puts his nipples into someone's eyes and blasts them off. Oh, that would be hilarious. Bessie from the Mighty Bee. I barely remember this show. It was from around the time when I was starting to stop watching Nickelodeon, so... I think she'll probably be unlikely to appear. She's not at the bottom of the list, but I don't see her really 100% happening. And just, I'm not really sure how many people even remember her, like me. Let's see. Timmy Turner. Timmy Turner is definitely going to be at the top of the list. The show was on for almost 20 years. I mean, can you honestly say, with a straight face, that this show won't have at least one character on there? And I know a lot of people have a lot to say about the creator, Bruce, but yeah, I think he's still very likely to appear. And he'll probably go and get Cosmo and Wanda for help, most likely, to go and do things for him, but most likely he's definitely going to be on top of there. Vlad Masters. remember earlier when I said there was a character more likely to appear? Yeah, I'm going with Vlad. We need more villain characters, and out of all the villains, he needs to appear the most, I think. Though I would like Ozai to appear as well, but again, I don't want too many Avatar characters. So on the list, I can definitely be him on the top of the list as well. Harvey Beaks. I don't remember Nickelodeon very liking the show that much. Even though it had some fans, it got canceled after one season, so I'm going with very unlikely for Harvey. I mean, sorry, little bird, but Nickelodeon didn't like you, so I'm putting you at the bottom. So, yep, you're getting the bird. Dexter and Ed. Let's see. I think I'm going to go with likely for this one. Yeah. I know, it's another stupid one, but... And like I said, I thought there would probably only be a few live-action characters on here, but out of all the live-action characters, I think they are probably the ones I want the most. It would be pretty funny to go and see them on there. Dora the Explorer. You know what? I'm not too sure on this one. I mean, she's probably more likely than Blue, but she's also from a little kid's show. But wouldn't it be great to go and see her on there, going like, she goes and stares at the screen, go like, "Come on, everybody!" And that probably didn't sound like Dora at all. I think it sounded more stubborn in Spanish. I'll go with very likely for her, actually. I mean, I was actually thinking of putting her in likely, but I'll go with very likely for her. Because, I mean, she's pretty much the mascot of Nick Jr. and I think she has a good chance of appearing, actually. Stickly. Unless you're from the 90s, you probably don't remember Stickly too much, but he was kind of like a mascot for a while. The main problem with him is that he doesn't have any arms or legs, so it would be really weird to go and have to go patrol him and do any actions for him. I think I'm going to go with maybe for Stickly. If he had arms and legs, I'd probably put him in likely, but sadly he doesn't. Then Pick Boy. So he was kind of like this mascot for a while that when people would go online and choose a show to be on next, and then he would announce what show won, so... And I think he does still appear once in a while. I'm not too sure, but I think I've seen him. Let's go with likely for him. He's probably actually a lot lower than that, but you know what? It would be great to have at least someone like that in there. I really like that. And, well, that's my list. As I said before, I couldn't go include every Nickelodeon character on here. That would take a very, very, very long time, but I did try to go and choose a lot of more well-known characters, and I probably did leave a few well-known characters out. Some might have slipped my mind, some I probably didn't want to do, and then others just, I probably thought about it at first, but now it's like, you know what, I'll do this other character instead. So, yeah. That's my list. So, out of all the very likely characters, Zuko is the one I want the most. I'd also like to have Vlad in there and Squidward. And I think Danny would also be fun. I'd also like to have Plankton, Dib, and Rudy because he would be a unique character. Ember. And then Pick Boy would probably be a weird one, but a fun one. Barnacle Boy and Mermaid Man, they might be an assistant trophy instead, but I would like them to be in there. Jenny, I would also like her to be in there. Mr. Crocker. Stickly. Tech from Invader Zim. Hugh Neutron. Quailman a lot, even though he's unlikely, but I would like him to be in there, but he's probably not going to be. Roger, Blue, me and End Account, once again, very, very unlikely. And even the Catch Rats characters. So, what do you think? Are there any characters that you really wanted to be in here that I put on the bottom of the list, but you want at the top? Or are any of my top characters, do you think have no chance on being here, and you think I'm completely being an idiot right now? Or are there any characters that didn't even make this list and you want to be in here, or you think that won't be on here but should have been added to the bottom of the list? What do you think? So, yeah, thanks for watching this video. Only time will tell what characters will be in here. Who knows? My list might be 100% right. It might be 100% wrong. Most likely the latter, but wouldn't it be something if I ended up being 100% right? I'd be like, yeah, yeah! So, yeah, it should be fun to see which characters appear in the next several months, and I do hope at least some of these characters appear in it.